Imagine standing in the dim light of an ancient Egyptian tomb. The air is still. The walls are covered in golden hieroglyphs, and before you lies a body that is 3,000 years old. The face still intact, the features preserved, as if time itself had stopped and refused to move forward. How did the ancient Egyptians defeat decay, defeat nature, defeat death itself, using tools we would consider primitive today? The answer reveals a science far more sophisticated and a belief system far more fascinating than most people ever imagine. To understand mummification, you first need to understand what the Egyptians believed about death. For them, death was not an ending, it was a transition, a journey from this world into the next. They believed that the soul, what they called the ka, needed a physical body to return to after death. If the body rotted away, the soul would wander lost for eternity. So, preserving the body was not optional. It was absolutely essential. Every cut, every ritual, every layer of linen was an act of devotion. Mummification was not simply about preserving a corpse, it was a doorway to eternal life. This process took exactly 70 days. Here is what happened, step by step. The moment a pharaoh died, the priests began their work. They made a small incision on the left side of the body and carefully removed the major organs, the lungs, the liver, the stomach, and the intestines. But one organ was never touched, the heart. The heart always stayed inside, because in the afterlife, the heart would be weighed on a golden scale against the feather of the goddess Mot, the feather of truth and justice. If the heart was pure, the soul passed into paradise. If it was heavy with sin, it was devoured by a monster. No priest would ever dare remove it. Now here is where things get truly remarkable. The brain had to go. Priests inserted a long, thin metal hook through the nostril, broke through a thin bone inside the skull, and pulled the brain out piece by piece through the nose. The skull was then rinsed with liquid resin to clean it completely. Why? Because the Egyptians did not believe the brain held any value. In their understanding, all thinking and feeling happened in the heart. The brain was simply empty space. Each removed organ was placed in its own sacred container, known as a canopic jar. There were 4 jars, each shaped like one of the 4 sons of the god Horus. The jackal head protected the stomach, the human head protected the liver, the baboon head protected the lungs, the falcon head protected the intestines. These jars were buried alongside the mummy so the body and its organs would be reunited in the afterlife. The body was then packed and covered completely in natron, a natural mineral salt found in dried lake beds across Egypt. Natron absorbed moisture rapidly and stopped decay almost entirely. The body was left buried in this salt for 40 days. When the priest returned, it was dry, preserved, and ready for the next stage. The priest then anointed the skin with fragrant oils, cedar resin, and beeswax, restoring its flexibility and protecting it from the air. The body cavity was stuffed with dried linen and fragrant herbs to give it back its natural human shape. Then came the wrapping. Starting from the fingertips and toes, priests wrapped the entire body in hundreds of meters of fine white linen bandages over several careful days. Between each layer, they placed sacred amulets inscribed with spells from the Book of the Dead, each charm protecting a specific part of the body on its journey through the underworld. Finally, the high priest performed the most sacred ritual of all, the opening of the mouth ceremony. Using a ceremonial tool, he touched the lips, eyes, nose, and ears of the mummy, reciting ancient prayers to restore its senses, its ability to speak, see, hear, and breathe in the afterlife. Only after this was the pharaoh truly ready to enter eternity. This science evolved and was refined over 2,000 years of practice and devotion, generation after generation of priests passing their knowledge forward. And it worked. When archaeologists opened royal tombs after 30 centuries of darkness, they found mummies so well preserved that scientists could study their DNA, diagnose their diseases, and even reconstruct their faces. The ancient Egyptians could not stop death, but through knowledge, faith, and an extraordinary dedication to their craft, they did something no civilization has ever matched. They conquered time.